So we're back again doing the now what we're trying to do is to configure to add a network controller to this network. So it's the one that's going to monitor the devices that we have in our network, monitor our network, pick up all the devices that we have in our network, create policies in our network. So I just want to go through that, right? Like, so these days, the way the technical support or the way network administrators work, like we don't know doing the old way school whereby we used to run around the building looking at the devices, what's happening with the device, and then also trying to write down the MAC address of the devices that we have. So we have tools that we have in our network that can do asset management, and then we just go through those devices, collect or check how many devices we have, and then where exactly in our building those devices are. So now Cisco is what we call a network controller device, and then they recently added the network controller feature on the packet tracer 8.0. On packet tracer 7.0, we didn't have the network controller. So now we do have, they've added this cool tool. So I just want to demonstrate that, right? Like, so this video is for network controller, just how to configure network controller and how to pick up other devices that you have in your own network. So basically, we're focusing on the network controller. So let's go ahead and start adding the network controller and see how it works in your network and how is it going to help you as a network engineer in terms of like trying to monitor your network, trying to see what's happening within your network, right? So yes, let me just quickly add a network controller. So a network controller on packet tracer is found under the end devices, right? So you just click on the end devices, and then you just read down there. There's a Meraki server. Just right next to Meraki server, you can find your network controller, and then you click on it, drag it to your network, right? So I have my network controller, PT controller 1. So I want to add a cable there to that network controller, plug in a cable, Ethernet cable. There is an Ethernet cable going straight to the switch, right? So connecting it to my switch. All right, so network controller, what else do I need on the side? Let me assign an IP address. So you click on the network controller, and then network controller, and then go to config, and then what's the interface? You check the interface on the side here that is used. So it's gig 0, right? So I want to assign an IP address to gig 0. And then you can see my network. There's 192.168.100.0. So my IP address must be on the same subnet with that one so that it will be able to connect or monitor these devices, right? So be part of the same subnet with those networks. Must be part of the same network, what you call the same subnet with those. All right, so I want to assign an IP address to these. I have a DHCP configured. I can use my DHCP, but remember this is a network control. I don't want my IP address to change, so I can manually assign an IP address to this network controller, or I can use the DHCP. 192.168.100.11, right? And then this address is already used in a network, so that means that's a duplicate IP address. Let me say 192.168.100.253. Let me just leave it at 253. All right, there it is. So controller, one of the things that you need to enable is the access enabled. This part needs to be enabled on your network, right? And then before you even enable these, there's this one part that is more important that you need to configure. So you go to options and then click on preferences, and then there is a part, this miscellaneous tab. Then you see there are these external network access. So you need to check these two boxes, right? So these are the one that will allow the script modules and device scripts to be written, or the APIs, you see. So you need to enable these two, right? And then after that, you can come now back to the network controller and then enable the this part, the access enabled, which uses port 58,000. So this is the port that the network controller will be using to communicate with other devices, right? So it listens on this port. All right, so let me just show you. So it listens on this port, right? So collecting information or communicating with other devices, it will communicate using that cable. Okay, physical. Okay, so it has an IP address. So the IP address Where is the IP address? All right, so it doesn't come with a screen with it, like it doesn't have a screen. So I'm going to use this laptop to manage this network controller. Remember, like on our previous video, we use this PC to configure our wireless LAN controller. So we just go into the browser, and then on the browser, your browser can be Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, and then on that browser, you type in the IP address of the device that you want to manage. Right, so this IP address, the IP address of this device, let's check it again. It is 192.168.100.53. So that's the IP address of that device. So let me click there on my PC and then go to my browser, and then I want to access. Come on, all right, I want to connect to that. Okay, first before I even do this, let me start with pinging the device, right? Just to find out, trying to find out if these two devices are able to communicate. 253, right? That's the IP address of the network controller. So I need to communicate. My PC needs to communicate with the network controller, right? So there we go. So you can see now these two, they can communicate. So because they're in the same subnet and then they're connected together, so they can communicate. So now I can move to the web browser and then type in the IP address of the network controller. So 192.168.100.253. So this is me communicating with third. This is PC. I just want to access the network access controller. Network controller, I mean. Okay, now I need to create a username. Let me just use admin and then Cisco 123. Just show you that. So Cisco 123. So because this is like just a simulation, right? So I'm using the easy password, but in your production network you're gonna need to use like stronger passwords, right? So that you won't get hacked and stuff like that. So it's just that this is my simple network. So now I need to type in that username again, admin, and then my password Cisco 123, and then show Cisco 123, and then log in again to this network. Login. All right, there I am inside the network. So let me maximize this so that you can all see what's happening in this network. So now I'm inside this network controller, right? So you can see host 0, ping succeeded, failed. So now I have to go through this part called what you call the dashboard and then provisioning, right? So I have to click on the provisioning part. So I need to click on add devices, right? So add devices, add a new device. Now cancel, that's not the part. I want to start with creating a credential. So the credentials are the one like the SSH thing, right? So it's the one that's going to give me access or like accessing other devices that I have in my network. So anytime I try to discover devices in my network, it will need the credentials, right, for the SSH part. So username, let me say admin again, and then password Cisco 123, and then enable password Cisco 123, right? And then Cisco 123, you can see my password description. Let me say my admin pass, right? Oh, let me just say description Cisco 123, because I don't want to forget my password, right? Like, so description, it might be maybe the credentials are for what, or describing what the credentials are all about, right? You can't write the exact password because the description part, it will appear on part of the credentials there. You will see you see what I'm talking about. All right, there is the admin and then description, which is my password, right? So that's what I was saying. Okay, the description is mustn't be exactly what your password is, like, because it will appear there on the screen, right? So discovery, now I have to discover devices. Let me go click on the discovery part, and then you can use the CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol, which is the Cisco protocol that is used by Cisco devices to discover each other, to find the devices that are closer. Or you can use the range, right? The range, you will need to type in your name of that range. Maybe we said our company name is Mega. Start IP address 192 192.168.100. That's the range of my network, right? It was a 0, start from 1 and then end 192.168.100.254. And then credential. Now this is the part that I said we're going to use it. We're going to need the credential part to discover all this, like more of a SSH key. All right, there we have that. And then we say add. So now my network controller will go through the process of discovering the devices that are on that range that I've specified. I said 192.168.100.1. That's the starting, and then the end IP address is a 254. So it will look for devices that are in that range because it's also in that range. So these devices must be discoverable. So it will populate that information if they are all on the same network. If my configurations or what I tapped in there is correct, so it has to discover all that information. So it will take some time because I said remember from 192.168. What you call dot 100.0, it's like a big range which consists of like 250 4 available IP addresses, assignable IP addresses. So it's going through that, like the ping requests that have been sent to all of these IP addresses, and then it will record the one that are responding back to us. So it's a process. So I'm sure it's kind of like taking time because of how big the range is. So if maybe it was looking for one IP address, it was going to be quicker. Like it was going to be easy for it to quickly find that specific device, because the ping process or the ping messages will be going directly to that specific devices. So now I can check here on network devices that the system has discovered. So these are the system that it has discovered. Collection status, some are not supported. You find that the device is using maybe an older version or a different version. That's why it says unsupported. You see, where's the version, software version? So if it's not 6 point something, it will not populate that information. That's why. All right, so that's why you don't have see more information on that. So update about that specific device, you can check information about that specific device. So that's the device, right? Host ID there, and then MAC address of the device, and then management IP address. So it's 100.3. That's the IP address of this device, and then collection status unsupported. So it's basically maybe about yes to do with the version that the system is using. That's why it can't populate the entire information about that system. Okay, we have 254. We know this is our router. You see, there's our router, and then management IP address. There's the information, connection status, unreachable. It has to do again with the software version that is using. That's why it's undiscoverable, right? And then we have a 99 there. And 99 is which device is it. So that's why I can't populate much information about these devices. I'm sure it has to do with the software that they're using. So you can see these are the IP addresses that are used in our network, and then it can pick up the devices when uptime, how long they've been up for, last updated there. So yeah, these are the devices. Let me check if we can update these. Last time I tried, I couldn't update that. Updated successfully. Let me check again. Interface count. So nothing much, nothing changed there. All right. So these are the devices that we manage to discover. So on the discover part, you see now you can populate internal inventory management. So this is your inventory, right? Like your the inventory that we have, what you call asset management, right? So let's go through that. We have created an asset management, so you know where these devices are. Okay, we have other devices that are, it says reachable. Let me check this out and see what information does it have. Okay, you can see the version. Where is the version of this device? CLR not validated, host name there, and then ID, interface count, MAC address. So interface count has to do with the hop count. How far is it from the network controller? And then management IP address, ping success, and all that information. All right, and then start, condition in progress, status active. So CTP said okay, done. We have CLI credentials, and then CTP level 0, retry count 3, timeout 5. All right, so now there is more to this network controller, right? Let's check out assurance. What does it have on the assurance part, right? Network health there, checking out your network health, you're managing your network health, and then it shows you the health percentage, 0%, healthy, all that information about our network. Health level, 100%. My network is looking good, right? So you can see that the detailed information about our network. So this is your network monitoring tool. It can give you more information on the host. These are the host devices that I have in my network. Host devices, as you can see, and then host, and then IP, host name, it's a switch, and then port. They connected to that port in my network, right? So let me see if I can pull up more information about this. See, connected network interface, fast Ethernet 01, and then connected network device name, connected directly to a switch, host IP address, 100.1, and then this one is a host name, it's a server. So this is my server, ping status, success, VLAN ID, so they're all on VLAN 1, default VLAN. So they're all on VLAN 1. So as you can see, there's a PC connected host name to a switch, and then through that port. And then we have another one here, which is a tablet, right? And then you can see dot one radio port. It's using wireless connection. So these are the host devices that I have in my network. The other interesting part is the topology, right? Let me see if I can pull up the information about the topology. Come on. So they were supposed to pull up information about my topology here. It's interesting. I don't know why. Okay, topology. So it was going to pull up the topology, right, and then give me the detailed information about my topology. So I don't know why this time is not showing me that information. So topology is just the laying down of your network, the structure of your network, how your network looks like. And then path trace. Let me, if I want to trace the path, let's say source IP address 192.168.100. Maybe 1, and then I want to I want to see the path, like it's similar to using like the trace route command, 192.168.100.254. Just want to check the path to this router, and then let's see, there it is, right? So you can see this is a server, IP address of a server, egress unknown, and then router, there it is. So you're tracing the path to that destination. You can delete that information once you're done. So you can use this tool like to find out how far the device is from the network controller that you're using, or from your source. How far is it from the source, which is your source will be on my side. My source was 192.168.100.1, and then I'm pinging, or I'm I'm tracing the route to this IP address there on that side. Okay, so and then the last one on my side here, let me check the policies now. You can also create policies. Maybe start with the scope, new scope. Maybe they say admin, because I'm lazy to create longer scopes. There is admin, and then policy. Let's say maybe policy, say JCP policy. So you're not, if you want to type in two words, you're not allowed to create spaces in between the two words. What you can do is you can use an underscore. Like for example, I want to say JCP policy, so spaces in between the two words is not allowed. So you gotta use like an underscore. And then business relevant, yes. What is it? JCP, and then scope, and then admin, and then let's say add that policy. So you see we've added a policy. This function is only supported on devices running iOS XE or S. So there is a policy there that is added. So you can add different policies to this network. For example, what's the other policy? Let me check my maybe USB policy, USB. Maybe you want to restrict usage of USB sticks in your network. Select protocol, select. Last time I checked, I found there was USB here. Or you want to block HTTP from your network or whatever. Where's the USB? Let's say maybe as a USB, and then scope, I can use that scope, and then resource scope already as a policy configure resource conflict. Okay, it's not happy about that scope. Maybe say USB, and then say policy, go through the same process again. Business relevant protocols, USB. So there's USB, select USB, and then I've added another policy there. So I have my policies on my network there, which are 2, and the network settings. If you have a AAA server, which is your accounting, authorization, authentication, right? And then have a DNS domain, network flow, so you can save an IP address of the NTP server, like one that keeps track of your time, network time protocol. And then syslog is the one that keeps logs of everything that's happening in your network, right? So save an IP address can be a 192.168.100.1 can work as a CS system log. I can save that. Network NTP same server 192.168 and then .100.1. It's the same server anyway. So I have only one server in my network. So you can see the use of a server or the use of a network controller in your network, right? So that's the DNS. We have configured a DNS server, IP address, and all of the keys. Let's say push configurations. Say save successfully. Okay, basically that's what, in short, that's what we have. That's what we can configure within a network controller. But a network controller is bigger than this. You can also use the API docs, which is usually the configurations that have been already configured there. You need all of this information. You just quickly add that information to your network, right? But for us, we sorted, so we're good to go. So basically, in short, that was it, right? So you can use the network controller to control your network, to see what's really happening within your network. You can see the health level 100%. It can also show me managed devices and managed 71%. Can see ping succeeded, ping failed, host I have 6, I have QoS, which is quality of service. I have 2 scope, I have 2 policies. So that's my network right there. Thank you guys for joining me as we go. We're going through the configurations of the network controller. You guys are always awesome. Thank you.